Hello people, it's the 28th of November 2024 and I am on, this is the, well, I'm not on it, but I'm on a sidewalk near Prospect Nezavisimosti. This is like the biggest street in Minsk, and if you can look the distance, I don't know if you can see it, way down there, that's Victory Square. So anyway, I don't have that much news, but I'm just gonna walk around. I've never been here, to be honest with you, in this place. So, but the news that I have is actually pretty, I guess it's earth-shattering. I thought it was earth-shattering yesterday, you know, and it's looking like, and you hear from Lavrov, Sergei Lavrov, and you hear from Vladimir Putin, and you hear from a lot of these people, you know, the top security people, and the number one senator, a lady in Russia, and they're all talking like, you know, this is going to be escalated, and Russia is not just going to sit around and do nothing. They said, they're all saying Russia's not going to sit and do nothing. They're going to respond. And of course, as I said yesterday in the video, it's going to be a response for those who are behind all this. And it's sort of like a hint saying it's not going to be Ukraine. I'm just reading that. I don't know. I'm trying to read between the lines. I don't know what you guys think. Those who are responsible. And with my video yesterday, you know, it was called The Men Behind the Curtain. You know, the big question is, who's responsible? You know, who's the one that's egging it on? It's, I don't know, military-industrial complex? Is it Ukraine? Is it the US government? Or is it somebody else? You know, there's a lot of people that are making a lot of profits. But what's very clear is those that are gaining something, those that have something to gain from this, those are the ones that are egging this all on. As you notice, I'm not on Prospect Nezavisimosti. I came here on some sort of a, going through these arches here. I don't know. I don't even know. Like I said, I don't know where I'm at. I'm just kind of wandering around. Maybe I'll see something interesting. Looks like there's some garages right here too. You guys probably don't like this kind of stuff. I'm not so much into it. It's always interesting, you know, that people have storage areas. Oh, I'll just walk over, show it to you. I've shown it in other videos. But did I step? Yes. I stepped in somebody's dog's doings. That's what they call it, dog do. Yeah, I got a long time before I'm getting home, and I gotta find like some grass right like here and wipe my foot off. No, it's not that bad though. Looks like a Catholic church over there. As you all might know, they have all kinds of denominations here in Belarus. There's Catholics and there's Orthodox, there's Baptists, there's Methodists, there's Jewish, there's all sorts of things. And maybe what you hear over in the West is it's an evil dictator and no churches are allowed, or you never know, all kinds of crazy stuff about Belarus over there. And I guess it's to make people hate Belarus so that you guys will all in the West pick up guns and go kill Belarusians when the time comes. You know, they've already gotten that far with Russia. The Ukrainian people have been, what do you call it, acclimatized. My eyes, I have sensitive eyes. They've been acclimatized since at least the 1950s. And I'm just saying at least, to hate Russians, you know, even before that, obviously, but in small numbers and places like Lvov. But of course, this is all spread out. And in case none of you actually know this, but most of you probably do, I've mentioned it before, but you know, this has been spreading out, this hatred of Russia. And you know, we had our own, you know, what do you call it, brainwashing during the Cold War. You know, the Russians are going to come and get you and they're evil. And the Germans even had that during the beginning of the, I don't know if you call it occupation. You know, it's kind of like the American occupation of the western part of Germany. You know, what did Elvis made a song, what, Occupation GI Blues or something? Well, he doesn't, that's not the name. It's called, I think, GI Blues, but then he sings, it says Occupation GI Blues. So America acts like they don't occupy anybody. Like what's going on in Syria right now, and if you heard like one of the assistants of the State Department, they say they own it. That is their land, American land. We own it, and they're going to keep the rest of Syria in rubble. I've mentioned that before too. But that's just a side note. And oh, look at this, is kind of peaceful here. They've raked up the leaves. Nobody's come to get bags. It's not windy out here, so it's not going to be blowing around. They still have piles. There's a little bit more work to do over there. So where are the people? Maybe they just come in the mornings. This is what they did. Maybe today. Kind of an ugly 60-ish, 1960s Khrushchev building, or maybe Brezhnev, I don't know. So, okay. But they had a NATO meeting just a few days ago, and in that NATO meeting, I guess one of the discussions was to give Ukraine Tomahawk missiles. And I don't think they've said they're not going to do that. But you know, you heard with ATACMS and Storm Shadows and Taurus, you know, the German one, they all said, oh no, we're not going to do it. But of course, I think Olaf Scholz, he's at least standing by the fact that he said he's not going to send Taurus. And at least he's come out and admitted that Germans will have to be the ones that are programming it and firing it. And of course, the U.S. has mentioned that on some slim occasions. I guess it was, who was it? Tony Blinken, you know, phony Tony. And all these countries, you know, they have to have their people doing it. I think in the case of the French, I think maybe they sit there, and I believe that they program these missiles at one point. And it's a little bit different, I think, with the U.S. because they have to sit in a control room and actually be guiding it, I think, with coordinates from satellites. I'm not positive. I'm just saying from what I've been understanding. But the Tomahawk is a little bit different. It's got a lot bigger range. And of course, they can put nuclear warheads on there. So, and I remember back in my day when I was in the military, and I had a very, I'm not going to say high position. I had a very, maybe delicate. I worked in a delicate place. Well, I'll tell you where I worked. I worked for the commanding general of American forces in Germany. I worked directly in his office. So it was like I was on the secretary of the general staff, and, you know, meeting people, presidents like President Reagan, and other people running for president, lots of congressmen. Back then I wasn't so interested, like I said, in politics, so I, you know, didn't know who most of these people were. It didn't really matter to me. You know, top military people, president of Germany. I think I met 2 presidents of Germany, which, you know, it's not a big deal because the one who runs things is the chancellor. And I almost met Helmut Kohl, Chancellor Kohl, with Caspar Weinberger when he was American Secretary of Defense. But I was supposed to transport them from one place to another, but the weather was good, so they went by helicopter, and I didn't have to drive them. So that's what that was about. But anyway, meeting a lot of other people, and Colin Powell, blah blah blah. So, but anyway, I knew. I liked him too. That was the general who was in charge of the Pershing missiles, and also to an extent that was I believe that's Tomahawks. They had Tomahawk missiles there too, and he was only a brigadier general, 1-star general. But at that same time, you know, you have these other generals, and some of them have like lieutenant generals, you know, 3-star generals, and then you have 4-star generals, and a lot of time, which is very strange, like that was the case with Colin Powell. Although he was a lieutenant general, I think he was in charge of 5th Corps out of Frankfurt, his, you know, the Abrams complex, and I think the building he was in is called the Abrams Building. And I'm saying all this stuff, which doesn't really matter anymore, because I had to sign some sort of papers that said under very severe punishment, I'm not allowed to talk about things that I experienced while I was in the military. But I would imagine that there's a lot of other people that are talking, and they also maybe had to sign the same documents. Maybe Scott Ritter. I don't know. He was in intelligence. I wasn't even in intelligence when I was doing all this stuff. And even though I had this access to a lot of things, and then went to some places that I guess you'd say taboo places, but you know, over time, when you're in the military for 7 years, you start picking up some things anyway. And so you run into places like little tiny military bases. Maybe it only has 16 people, not even in the American areas, not even in the American occupation zone, but maybe in the British occupation zone, although it is an American military base. There's all sorts of crazy things. And you know, like I told you, we had people in one unit which wasn't at that time I was in intelligence, which is later on, And in that unit, we had people going to into places where we're not allowed to be going into. And I guess I could say I did that myself, at least on one occasion. And it's pretty interesting that you know, like taking photographs and things like that. And what else? Anyway, I was with a British military person as well. And I don't know, shouldn't really say, but all I'm trying to say is that United States, they send people into places where they don't ever admit that they sent people into places. And then there are people that are doing things, and people like myself, maybe I've already seen these people, and then maybe you'll hear about them in the news at some other time, and you know, but the news makes it sound like, oh, they're perfectly innocent, they're a reporter or something like that, when you know, you actually knew some of these people. You know, this is strange here. Look at this. This is, if you can see this, it's an embassy from the Vatican. It's the Vatican embassy of, you know, well, in Belarus. So interesting. That's a nice crest up there, I guess. So you can see that. Huh? Actually, nice. Nice grounds, too. Maybe somebody in there. They have the things pulled so I can't see them. I guess they have the ICU2 TV set, maybe with those cameras up there. The ICU2 TV set. So anyway, like I said, I'm just walking around. I didn't even know what this is, and it's kind of in a back, I guess there's a street here so they can drive here. Very small, narrow streets. So voyage of discovery. So anyway, I was mentioning these Tomahawk missiles. It says apparently the United States, if, and they probably will, give them to Ukraine because they're looking to escalate this as much as they can possibly get away with. And apparently they have around 50 that they can give to Ukraine. They didn't say an exact number, but it was around 50. So that could be 45 and it could be 55, I don't know. Look at this. This is locked up. Don't quite know what it is. It's a little bit too far away. I don't know if I can go over here. This is probably locked. If it wasn't, I would sneak over there. I don't know. It's something official. I see some kind of flags over there. So, should ask this lady, but she's on the phone. Okay. And what else is new? Well, all I'm saying is that these people, they're talking about escalation over here, the Russians are saying, and I don't blame the Russians, and I don't think any of you do, anyone that watches this channel, because, you know, the U.S. just keeps provoking and provoking and provoking, and it's obvious that somebody, you know, somebody wants some sort of a conflict, and a lot of people don't care if there's a conflict, which is like maybe Joe Biden, and I think Zelensky of Ukraine, at least on that side, he definitely wants a confrontation, but he wants the United States to get in, you know, on his side. And it doesn't matter if Ukraine gets completely demolished. That is not the point. The point is that they win. You know, he's working for the Nazis, as you all know. I don't know what this building is here. I mean, at least that's what I suspect. He's working for number one, the United States, or number two, and the other one is the Nazis, and he's just a puppet. Biden's just a puppet. He's a puppet of the big moneyed people, as you all know, and he's on his way out. That's why he's a puppet, because he's not going to get anything from this. Well, he is going to get something from it. You know, he's heavily invested in a lot of this stuff too. The Biden family. I think his what is his brother? I believe his brother is invested in real estate there, and Hunter was with Burisma, and Joe, and I guess maybe many members of the family there with Rosemont Seneca. And I'm, you know, I got to be careful because I'm not allowed to say they're involved some kind of let's say that laboratories. YouTube cut me down if you hear what it is. Look at this. What is this over here? Birch. That's birch. That must be maple. I know the tree. I don't know the name. This one is Crestonian, and that is, of course, oak, I believe. They just so happen to put up some leaves that I sort of know. There's a lot of leaves I don't know. I don't know if this one was up here. No leaves on it anymore. So, anyway, that's about the news. There's not that much news. I'm just saying that we all have to keep our eyes open. And I think that nearly any time Russia is going to respond, and we just have to ask ourselves, well, how are they going to respond? And who are the ones, I just asked already, who are the ones that are responsible for it? And that would be great if they got the people that really are responsible for it. And as you know who they are, that's some of these big wiggies on the, it's not just the people that make the weapons, the big military industrial complex. It's those people, all of them, that make a lot of money. There's a lot of them. There's some guy that was making vaccines, and he's a software engineer. He's also involved with this company that makes chemicals, and a lot of time for farming. And I'm not, just because it's for farming doesn't mean the chemicals are good. It's things like with glyphosate in it, and other chemicals that are harmful to people, and pesticides, and who knows what all. You all know what I'm getting at. And he's involved in a lot of things. And there's others as well. People you don't even know. There's a lot of oligarchs from Ukraine that are also involved in a lot of these things. So, but a lot of these people are not mentioned. And these things like Panama Papers and I think they call the Pandora Papers, and they talk about a lot of rich people, and that there's like these legal firms in some places that they called the one Panama Papers, I think, because maybe the legal office was located in Panama at the time. And these people are, whatever, lawyers and accountants and all that, and they take care of secret money from the very rich people. David Cameron, I mentioned in one video, he supposedly resigned. I think he was saying that something about the Brexit, if he loses the Brexit vote, that because they wanted to stay in, that he will resign. But I think a lot of that is not really to do with the Brexit vote. It's to do with the fact that they discovered, that was just, I don't know how long it was before he actually resigned, but it was discovered that he had, through his family, I think originally his father, they had secret money, and he acted as if, I didn't even know anything about it. Yeah, right, you didn't know. That took some, I don't know, what was it, 10 million pounds or something like that. It's just kind of, it's just some penny changes laying around out there. I don't know anything about it, So, anyway, so I should probably end right now. I don't want to make this too long. And it was a pretty bad video yesterday. I just seemed kind of messed up. I think we had a test and all that, and even though I did pretty good on the test, but I don't know. Doing Russian, you have to think really intensely, and it's very complicated grammar, and then you try to do a video, stuff that maybe you looked at the day before or even that morning, and then getting out of a Russian class, just getting out of a complicated language, and then trying to sit up here and talk about things that's not fresh in my mind. It's kind of distracting at times. And I think I'm getting back to where I was before. There's that Catholic church, so I guess I can find my way. Otherwise I'll be wandering around for another 6 weeks or something afterwards, trying to share a meal with a stray cat or something like that. But I guess I don't have to do that, because this is that arch. So of course I'm kidding. Anyway, you guys, thanks for joining me. And check out a video. I believe it was with Neil Oliver, and who was he speaking? Max Blumenthal. Max Blumenthal, one of the great investigative journalists. You have to see that. I have my ears open whenever Max Blumenthal is talking. So, looks like some guy here is gonna. Wait.
Прикинь, говоришь?
Я да. Я говорю по-русски. Немного по-русски.
А дом я тебе пиво угощу.
Бир?
Бир.
Beer? У меня нет пива.
Я куплю
Okay. No, it's okay. It's he's invited me to have a beer. So it's nice, very nice. But I don't know. I'll walk down the street with a guy, but I'm not going to have a beer. Maybe I will. Anyway, okay, guys. See you next time. Bye bye.